Go.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another lovely episode of the Warhammer Meta Chasers. We are sans Paul Murphy because it is the 4th of July and he's spending some beautiful time with his family, enjoying his Freedom Day. But we are joined by the lovely Dusty, that being Dustin Henshaw, the mogul himself. Hello, mate.
How's it going? I don't have any fireworks here. We had ours last weekend, so I'll be able to hear everything that's going on.
We don't really do fireworks for our, we don't have an Independence Day because it's still Commonwealth, as the same as you guys. We have Australia Day, which we usually celebrate by getting absolutely wrecked.
That makes
absolutely
sense.
shit.
Canada Day is our fireworks day, and we still do fireworks.
Yeah, but we celebrate. I think Anzac Day in Australia is actually a bigger day than Australia Day.
What's that?
Yeah, that's like Veterans Day. We celebrate our armed force. But that usually is a little bit of a bigger day in Australia. But anyway, if you were joining us from the US of A, enjoy your Freedom Day. If you're joining us from everywhere else in the world, sit tight, wet a brush if you so please. We got some meta to chase. We've got 3 beautiful events for your viewing pleasure. We have the New Zealand Team Championship. Then we have the Geelong Town Open. And then we have an event whose name I'm going to struggle to pronounce because Paul's not here. It's usually his job. The GT Tormenta de Hostias. Over in Spain. But not so much a quiet one. We've got a lot of decent-sized GT level events kicking off all over the world, but no slobber knockers, no 100-player events or anything like that. That's next weekend, hopefully. But Dustin, what are you seeing that's spicy out in that meta right now? What have you chased down and discovered?
What have I chased down? Well, I mean, I had to put the new NIDs on the table, and oh my god, are they ever fun? I love them. It seems just a little thing like giving +1 strength with Synapse, but that was all it took to get me excited about it. And then they went and gave Vanguard keywords to some of my favorite units in the tier, or favorite models specifically in the Tyranid Codex. So, yeah, I've been loving that and angry about it because I love my GSC as well. So I'm torn, and it's a problem. It's a problem.
Well, one of those things is not like the others. One of those things has exciting, dynamic new plays, and the other one is kind of the same stuff but worse.
The other one is GSC. Well, it's got some new stuff to it, though. I do like some of the things that are in there, and I enjoy the hard mode of 40k trying to figure out how to make it work. So.
Yes, I also enjoy such things. Playing guard at the moment has been a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But anyway, let's get into the meat and potatoes. First event for you guys is the New Zealand Team Championship from Auckland, North Island, New Zealand. 85 players in 17 teams of 6 rounds. What are we going to see there in that meta?
We will be seeing the Bruce Roof action. There are 3 Sisters of Battle, 3 Custodes, 5 Astra Militarum, 5 Guard Knights, and a single Imperial Knight. Space Marines are 2 Astartes, 2 Dark Angels, 1 Space Wolf, 7 Blood Angels. Chaos, there's 3 Chaos Space Marines, 4 T-Suns, 1 Death Guard, 6 World Eaters, 2 Demons, and 6 Chaos Knights. Xenos, there's 5 Necrons, 5 Orcs, 7 Tau, 4 Votan. That might be one of the most balanced Xenos spreads I've seen in a while.
And it's on the Tau front, not the Necrons front as well, or even the Orc front.
Yeah, exactly. Hive Mind, 8 Tyranids, no GSC. Yeah.
Well, if you got a Hive Mind player and they're like, "Oh, what would you like me to play, guys?"
Yeah,
sorry to say, your team's not saying GSC.
No, nobody's saying
GSC. If you play both, they're not saying GSC. Yeah. Sorry.
In Eldari, there's 1 Drukhari and 4 Eldari, meaning the faction podium is attempts to start. He's technically topping it off with 12 Tyranids, with 8 being the top. Then Tau, 7 right behind them, and then World Eaters and Chaos Knights right behind them at 6. This is a different podium than we've been seeing the last little while.
Southern Hemisphere, baby, we're spicy.
You guys are ahead of the meta. That's right. So maybe this is what the meta is going to be the rest of the hemisphere, the rest of the world in 2 weeks, 3 weeks.
At least 6 hours. 6
hours. Okay, 6 hours away.
Yeah. They'll catch up. But this is naturally it's a team event. 17 is the maximum number you can possibly see of any one faction. Adeptus Astartes making it to 2/3 pretty much of players and representation taking teams and representation taking Adeptus Astartes. Both Tyranids Tau getting close to Tyranids over the halfway point almost, and Tau just peeking at it with 7. And so, really interesting spread. Tyranids were shining last weekend, did very well at a multitude of different events. I don't think they took down a top spot, but there was plenty of X and 1s.
Yeah.
Is that where you're seeing them right now as well?
They are definitely high A tier. I think you need the experience like the faction specialists to really break that to X and O. Otherwise, It's definitely an X and 1 faction. Like it is something you are going to be seeing. You're going to have to deal with. You're going to have to learn the new things that it can do, even though it's not like crazy amount of new things. Just a few little keywords, and yeah, they're going to be around for a while now.
Yeah,
and they were already good. Like, let's not kid ourselves. They were already capable of winning. They were winning events still. So now they're just getting a little extra boost means there's going to be more of them, and they're going to be better.
Yeah, you still mean Tyranids, right?
Yes, still need Tyranids.
Yeah, and it's interesting because they were winning via, the unending swarm most usually.
Yes.
And now they're changed to more of a jank tech build, which is going to be, it might take a little bit for the skill set to pivot for Tyranid players, but yeah, they're going to be very strong.
Yeah, it is definitely going to be a different skill set. I think Invasion Fleet is still where a lot of them are settling. They're finding it's not as good as they were hoping. Synaptic Nexus still has some tricks that people may not have noticed, like with the Parasite now having Synapse.
Yeah, Synapse.
He can be a mobile grenade. It's pretty cool. But obviously Vanguard's the one that people should be the most excited about. I know I am.
Putting our gaze onto that Space Marine super faction, that is pretty much what we expect to see for the upcoming meta. 7 Blood Angels, more than every other Space Marine sub-faction plus together, and then some. So, yeah, definitely they're onto it on the in the North Island of New Zealand. I've identified Blood Angels being the strongest. And, I mean, just about every tier list that's been put out by a content creator has Blood Angels in or close to the top of the meta. Yeah, pretty much. S tier or the only army in like the A++,
right,
so to speak. If people are going to delineate between them and sisters, I guess some people say sisters are a little bit better, but it's still I don't think the top of the meta has ever been closer than it is right now. Like even sisters, people saying sisters is the top of the meta, they're not that much ahead. Usually we've seen armies that are like, this one's S and then there's the rest.
Yeah,
but that is not the case,
which is great to see. Like, that's what we love right now, because honestly, in a tournament like this where we have, like, this is high level play, and only one of them being Marines, which is hard for it not to be over the halfway mark, only one of them actually being over the halfway mark, that means the balance of the game is in a great spot according to that.
Really nice. What do we make of Tau? Is that just people saying that, okay, so Guard isn't the gun line of choice anymore. Tau is the obvious best gun line in the game, so we should have that in our lineup?
I think for teams specifically, it has the potential to actually have some really good pushing matchups where it can make a big differential. The Montka, that's the advance and shoot one, right? The Kaoyun is the the Montka one is the really aggressive one. If you get a light table and you can get first turn and just get all the angles and kill everything, it'd be pretty easy to get a differential.
Well, exactly right. It's perfectly said. There was always going to be a light table. I'm not sure. This is a 5-pack. So I'm not sure if it's 1 light, 1 heavy, 3 mid, which would be my assumption. And then the three mids will be on a bit of a gradient. Most likely playing the new WTC mats as well, or layouts. So yeah, you're always going to have a light, and you want to take something in your 5-pack to take advantage of that. Yeah. And I mean, Tyranids are pretty much table agnostic. They prefer something a little on the denser side or a medium. But yeah, you want to have something in your list that kind of just rocks the light. And then you move down to the 3rd tier here with the World Eaters and Chaos Knights. They're the dichotomy of, Chaos Knights are usually a little more table agnostic, but the World Eaters want the heavy. So that makes a lot of sense. But transitioning on to one of the top teams in attendance, they are listed under a different name in BCB. Should you look them up? But I will not put that on my shows.
We'll let you figure it out if you're watching this.
These are all close mates of mine, so I have no qualms about calling them the Mighty Sucks instead of what they're actually called.
This is what happens when Paul's not here.
Yeah. But these are all really good mates of mine, so they won't take offense. They probably find it funny. Their 5-pack consists of Chaos Knights, Traitorous Lance, all War Dogs, so 1 Stalker, 5 Briggs, 6 Carnivores, and 10 Blue Horrors, which I do actually quite like. 120 points for those. You could call whether you take them or Plague Bearers because they're about the same points. But the 10 blues come with all the splitting ability. They come with a lot of jank, and they have a little bit of shooting as well, which isn't awful. So I actually quite like that as a pick. So 12 dogs and 10 blues. We have a Blood Angel Sons of Sanguinius list, which will come as no surprise, with the exception of the fact that it has Mephiston in it. Oh. I have not, and you'll find I have not really denoted all the characters. Just assume, when you see 10 Death Company with jump hacks, Lamarty's
I will actually ask you, though, do you remember if the Sanguinar is there? Because I've been seeing him leave lists lately.
Me too. I don't believe Sanguinor is in this list.
Yeah.
I think I would have written down Sanguinor if it was in this list.
Yep.
But yeah, I know there's Lamatis. I know there's a jump pack Sang Priest to go with some of the jump pack intercessors. 2x5 Blade Guard plus Impulses I am seeing make quite a few more Sons of Sanguinius lists as well, because of course they get to the beautiful Strength 7 plus Lance ability, and then that's just the most fabulous breakpoint for that unit as well. And then coupled with the Death Company, with the minus damage and the Feel No Pain stuff, it's just, you're playing a bit of a more of a durability skew rather than just having here's a Marine that moves fast and is very killable, which is essentially what the rest of the list is. We have a Renegade Raiders Chaos Space Marine force with Huron Blackheart in it, and just assume there's a couple of Chaos Lords, because there are 4x5 Legionaries, 2 Rhinos, 2x3 Chaos Bikers, a single Vindicator, 10 Chosen, 10 Warp Talons, and then 3x5 Rubrics. So the Rubrics are really coming into the fore now as one of those picks to really add a bit of X factor. You're still playing Marine bodies, still playing Marine chassis, but they do things a little bit differently, and they take that extra AP from the Renegade Raiders really well, and a couple of the strats. Adeptus Sororitas, Hallowed Martyrs. So going with the Index detachment, maybe just hasn't had enough time to get the reps with the new ones, but this is a Val, a Triumph, a Hospitaller, which I actually really, really rate when it goes with the 10 Sacrosands that are in this list. Then we've got 2 Immolators, 2 Castigators, 2x5 Dominions to get split up by the Immolators and make, essentially the Sagittar packages we're used to in Votann. 2 Mortifiers, 3 Paragons, and 2x5 Seraphim. Pretty good list. A little bit lighter on the shooting than we're used to. Usually, although actually I shouldn't say that. The Dominions shoot pretty hard. The Immolators shoot well. The Cascaders shoot well. The Paragons shoot well. So that's probably a misnomer. And then Leagues of Votann to round it out. We have an Ironmaster, 2x10 Hearthkin, 5 Sagittars, 3 units of 5 Berserkers, a single unit of 10 Hearthguard, and 3/6 Pioneers. So one big unit of Pioneers. I actually rate 1 unit of 6, and 5 Jaegers finally making their entry into the meta. I think they're absolutely necessary. I think they're so freaking good, mate. What do you make of this 5-pack?
I'm not going to lie. When you were saying this is one of the top teams here, and you're like, Chaos Knights, Blood Angels, Chaos Space Marines, and Sisters, there's no way I would have guessed the 5th army was going to be Leagues of Votann. No way.
Yeah. Well, once again, you want a list to take advantage of the light table.
Yeah,
you have that light table, you have that resource, and if you're not going to take Tau, and I know this Leagues of Votann player, he's a special Leagues of Votann specialist, so he's going to be extremely good on that. The only thing that's interesting is that they've taken a Votann list that I feel like is way more table agnostic. So there's no hecatons in here that really need the table pick. So you can play on a medium or even a heavy at times with pretty much impunity. Saying g'day to people in chat. Dorian, how you doing? Sindri, thank you very much for joining us. Buckshot81, thank you guys. If you do not know, we do this show live. If you are listening back on your podcast aggregators, as Paul would say, we do this live at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can jump in the chat. You can talk to us. We can talk to you. It's a beautiful world. And I want to thank everybody who's joined us thus far. But yeah, if you're looking at this 5-pack, mate, anything in here that you find spicy? Any gaping weaknesses or lack thereof?
Weaknesses, no. If the Leagues of Votann player is a specialist, then I think this is actually a great 5-pack for it. I love the Chaos Knights. Blood Angels are kind of like, if you're taking Space Marines, that's the most likely choice. I have seen some Dark Angel picks, which I do like. Space Wolves too. There's still good options with it. I just like the Blood Angels the best. Chaos Space Marines obviously in a really good spot right now too. And Sisters, again, one of the top armies in the game in my opinion. So, and then I always say when we pick up our team picks, because like Scary and I will do this on our podcast all the time. Whenever the meta changes, we'll do our current 8-pack of teams. And usually the last slot, when a 5-man or the last 2 slots in an 8-man are reserved for faction specialists. Like you take the top 4, top 6, and the last ones are your X factors, the guys or girls that are really good at one specific faction, and they go in and they really mess up with people's pairing matrix because people don't know for sure, and they can really bring differentials in. So it could be any army. The 5th one here could be Votann. It doesn't matter which one it is. If it's a faction specialist, I love it. Yeah.
Yep, straight up. Me too. And if I was at an 8-pack at WTC, I would want Chaos Knights. I would want most likely Blood Angels, but doesn't have to be. 100% you want Chaos Space Marines, 100% you want Sisters. In those are just 4 of the best armies in the game. And like you said, 5th can just be X Factor. Really good. I straight up expect this team to win. It's got extremely good players on it. There are probably 2 or 3 other teams that are going to give them a run for their money at this event. Very strong. And there's a couple of New Zealand WTC players in here. There's actually an Australian WTC player in here as well, who's made the trip over to do a couple of scrims and some prep work before WTC, which I think is lovely. I love seeing that Southern Hemisphere collaboration. But yeah, the Mighty Sucks are going to do extremely well. And a shout out to Erwin in the chat, who is going to be in attendance at our next event, which we're going to tell you about right now. Oh, sorry, we're going to do our picks.
Oh, yeah.
Picks. Paul is going to default to Blood Angels for the entirety.
I mean, he's in pretty good shape.
I know. It actually is kind of rough. He gets to not be here and pick like one of the best armies in the game. What would you like, mate?
I am going to take Chaos Space Marines.
That is a good pick. Do you know who's playing that Chaos Space Marines list?
I do not. Who is it?
It's Marsoli.
Oh, is it? Oh, beautiful.
So, very good pick.
I nailed it. Perfect.
Fell backwards into that one. I am going to pick Chaos Knights.
Mm-hmm.
All right, next event we have is the Geelong Town Open from Geelong, Victoria, Australia. So this one is just down the road from me. I'm unfortunately unable to attend. I have another event coming up next week, and I wasn't able to do two days back to back. That's just not where I'm at in my old age. But this one has got 52 players. 52 players in 5 rounds. It's going to be a stupendous event. It's run by some absolute champions of the community over in Geelong, and it should be a fabulous time by all. What are we going to see there?
For the Imperial Super Faction, there are 2 Sisters of Battle, 2 AdMech, 6 Astra Militarum, 1 Grey Knight, and 3 Imperial Knights. Space Marines is 2 Astartes, 1 Space Wolf, and 4 Blood Angels. Not really Space Marines in attendance there.
Very few Space Marines,
That's
yeah.
Interesting, okay. Chaos, there's 4 Chaos Space Marines, 1 T-Sun, 3 Death Guard, 4 War Leaders, 2 Demons, 2 Chaos Knights. Xenos, there's 6 Necrons, 0 Orcs. Woo.
Yeah, I had to leave that in there because I thought that was very surprising, especially for Australia. We have a lot of people who love playing their orcs down under. So when that happens, it's of note. 3
Tau, 1 Votan, Highbind. Excuse me, there's no Highbind there at all?
Same thing. I have to tell you that there's 0. No, that does. I mean, no. Water off a duck's back. There's no the single Gene Steelcom player in the world isn't here. But 0 Tyranids is really surprising.
That's insane.
The numbers they have in the rest of the world.
I'm okay. I'm sorry. That took me by surprise there. Anyway, and then Eldari, there's 5 Eldari. Meaning the faction podium is Necrons and Astra Militarum, topping it off with 6 piece. Eldari close behind them with 5, and then World Leaders again, CSM and Blood Angels behind them with 4. That Necrons is not surprising. Astra Militarum, that is surprising.
Yeah, so I mean, where I'm from, in the region I'm from, you would say I would have bet the front of my face that there was going to be good amounts of orcs, good amounts of guard, and good amounts of Tyranids in pretty much every event in my state.
Well, you'd have lost 2/3 of your face. That's pretty
goose eggs. Yeah, exactly right. I keep the pretty parts. You can cut off the ugly bits. But this is a freaking spicy meta. Still really strong numbers of Eldari, no Drakari, which is not
as
100% surprising. Yeah. Single Grey Knight, a little bit on the lower side here. Good amount of Knights in total, being 5, 3 Imperial, 2 Chaos. Chaos Space Marines out in force, lower on the DACA side. So the DACA pick in Australia is still the Treadheads, is still the Guard, because Tau and Votan are, in medium to low numbers. But yeah, very spicy breakdown here. And very low, like you said, very low on the Space Marine numbers. Of course, Blood Angel still as much as the others put together, and then some again. But and somehow we have like 0 Orcs, 0 Necrons, but two AdMech.
This is wild.
And if you know how expensive it is to collect AdMech in Australia.
This is wild. Actually, how...
We always say when someone rocks up with a beautifully planned AdMech army, you tell them you've made some choices in life. You've made some sacrifices. you've looked at your power bill and your gas bill, and then you've looked at like a Sidonian Dragoons. I'm like, I can't have both. It's pretty funny. All right, so let us go into the top player in attendance. And naturally, we're into the back half of the year now. We've crossed over into that 7th month, which is when we usually start looking at the top players in the ITC rankings, because we're getting to the pointy end of things. And we have the top player in the the South Pacific region, that being Jason Horn, ranked number 1 right now. He's playing Canoptic Court and Necrons. And I mean, so many people have said, finally Necrons are dead, finally Necrons are dead. No, just look at this list. It's fine. Nightbringer and the Void Dragon, triple Technomancer, which pretty much tells you what's coming next. One of which has the Dimensional Sanctum, of course, for that beautiful.
Obviously, a 20-man warrior brick.
Oh yeah, obviously. 3 Scarabs, so Scarabs still making the cut. 2 single destroyers, 18 Wraiths. Their demise has been grossly overestimated, and 2 Doomstalkers. So essentially, this is the same list, just with less. Menial stuff. All it had to do was just cut utility units. It's still got the same 7 units of savagery, being the 2 Catan, the 3 Wraiths units, and the 2 Doomstalkers. So it still has fire support, still has absolute ridiculous durability, and I mean still managed to get 3 utility units in. So it's not the end of the world.
I can't emphasize how frustrating it is to try and kill units of Wraiths. It is infuriating.
It's disgusting. It's disgusting. I personally think 2 is the right number of Wraith units now. I prefer in the matchup where shooting is getting some of the other shooting armies are on the decline. I prefer the 3rd Doomstalker to the 3rd Wraith unit personally. But I can take nothing away from Jason Horn, who's number 1.
I'm the opposite. I actually like the extra Wraiths in favor of instead of the Doomstalkers. I find the Doomstalkers are so inconsistent that they drive me nuts. I would almost rather take 2 Reanimators instead of a Doomstalker.
But the thing is, one of them, you have 3 of them, and they shoot 4 times because one of them overwatches every turn, and that's how I look at it. It's not 3 shooting activations; it's 3.5 or even 4 shooting activations every turn. Yeah, because if they're always just kind of peeking out of a lane that your opponent needs to use.
Yeah, but we're talking about 3 shots. Maybe 2 hits, 1 hit.
Well, it's a psychological threat.
Yeah, I will give you that. It's absolutely a psychological threat, and it is when it peaks into elite armies. It can be devastating. For sure. I will not take that away from them for sure. I do like. Them. I prefer the 18 Wraiths and 2 Doomstalkers instead of 12 and 3.
You are obviously a more savage man than I, because if I was playing Necrons by this point, I'd be bored.
That's fair. You know what? That is a good reason to not do it, because it would be very boring. Just, okay, how many dice we got to roll? Cool. Here's all my 4-ups. All right, and here's all my 5-ups. Yeah, I lost 1 Wraith. He's coming back on my turn. You got any more shots? I'm just going to put it back down.
Yeah. It's still hitting a very high durability skew. Naturally, 2 Catans is a lot to take care of as well. But yeah, this is a very good list. Jason Horn, is probably the odds-on favorite to win this event. And he should do very well and extend his lead in the ITC rankings. So good job, and enjoy your Geelong Town Open, everybody. Time for some picks. Paul, once again, defaulting to Blood Angels, which once again is not a bad pick.
Nope, then you get to pick first this time.
What will Adam pick? With so many guard, of course I'm picking Necrons. I would have picked Blood
Angels. If you didn't pick Necrons.
If Paul was here, I would have picked Blood Angels over him.
That's fair. Just
because I didn't want to pick Necrons. All right, what are you going to pick? You're going to pick GC
what are you playing,
Tyranids?
Erwin? I want to know what you're playing. You don't want me to put pressure on the weekend? What are you playing?
He's playing Blood Angels.
Oh, damn it!
He's a mad lad. He's a Blood Angel specialist. He always plays Blood Angels.
All right. Well, Paul's already got it. So the pressure's on you already. It's from Paul.
He ain't no fair weather. Fair weather sailor. All right, what do you want to pick, brother?
Oh,
I can tell you some strong representations.
Okay.
So there's actually a couple of strong Votan players, a couple of strong Ashton Time players. Well, the Ashton Time, we'll see how they go. There's some not bad Eldari players either.
Oh, okay. All right. I'm trusting you on this. I'm gonna you know what? No, screw it. I'm going Imperial Knights. Let's go.
All right, I like that. That's cool. They might just very well Unger and or Bunga and win some games. Win a lot of games.
It's
and
a terrible choice, but I think
they are one list that actually gives the Necrons trouble as well.
It's true,
because outside of the Void Dragon and the Nightbringer, they do not kill a Night Lancer or Canis Rex with any speed.
Yeah, that's Dorian. Are you trolling me right now? Nids? There are no Nids here, man.
That's what I was joking about. Pick Nids or Orcs. Pick Nids or Orcs or GSC. There's none. Anyway, moving on to our last event, of which I will struggle to pronounce. This is the GT Tormenta de Hostias.
Oh, that was good. I like the accent in there too.
That's as good as it's going to get. That's as good as it is going to get.
You probably butchered it, but I thought it sounded good.
Exactly right. It sounded good, and if no one corrects me, it was perfect.
Yeah.
From Barcelona, Spain. It's actually on the outskirts of Barcelona. It's in an adjoining suburb, but close enough is good enough. 65 players and 5 freaking rounds, mate. What are we going to say?
For the Imperial Super Faction, there are 3 Sisters of Battle, 3 Custodes, 5 Grey Knights, and 3 Imperial Knights. Space Marines is 3 Astartes, 1 Dark Angel, 2 Space Wolves, 3 Blood Angels, and 3 Black Templar. Chaos, there's 5 Chaos Space Marines, 2 T-Suns, 2 Death Guard, 4 World Eaters, 4 Demons, and 1 Chaos Knight. Xenos, there's 5 Necrons, 3 Orcs, 4 Tau, and 1 Votan. Highbind, there are 5 Tyranids. So not a single GSC player in any of these events with their brand new codex. Nope. What does that tell you? Anyway, Eldari, there's 2 Drukhari and 3 Eldari, meaning the faction podium is Grey Knights, Chaos Space Marines, Krons, and Nids tied in first with 5. Tau, World Eaters, and Demons in second with 4. And then Sisters, Custodes, Imperial Knights, Astartes, Blood Angels, Black Templar, Orcs, and Eldari tied in third with 3. This is the new record.
This is the new record.
It is, yeah.
15 factions on our podium. Of course, there are 4s and 3s and stuff in there. It's a bit of a smaller event, but we want to celebrate the diversity where we can. So good freaking job, Barcelona. You guys are the current reigning, defending champions of the meta because you have the best spread I think we have ever seen.
Yeah, by far. But with 15 factions on the podium, that's incredible.
That's more than half.
That's more than half of the factions on the podium.
Yeah, in the game on the podium.
So
well done. Gold star, banana sticker, whatever you please.
We need to have an actual
We do. We should
have
a
medal at the top right of the screen. That'll just always be there.
We should have a champion of the meta icon.
Yes.
And then every time we have another Barcelona event, it gets slapped on there until someone takes the title off them. We need to get a championship belt. We need to get like a championship belt made up.
Okay.
Yeah. Somebody get on that.
Somebody get on that.
Chop. Yeah. Murder She Wrote lady, make us a championship belt. Anyway, I've got 2 lists for your viewing pleasure here because the second one is just hilarious and I love it. And the first one I picked because his name was fantastic. So this is Sir Charles.
What?
That's it. That's all he's got. His name is just Sir
Incredible.
Charles. He plays for one of the best clubs in Spain, that being a Tresmas, or is that the Feel No Pain 7+? I can't remember which one it is. But Adeptus Sororitas, Bringers of Flame. Now, this is one of the literal top lists in the world right now. I think one of the best lists out there. And so we definitely wanted to bring it to you. Plus, Adeptus Sororitas is a very new codex and it's very much unfolding. It has. I have heard, on the street, I've got some very strong Sisters players in my community. They think Bringers of Flame is the best way to go. Because it gives you the double down, triple down effect on all the things you already want to do. It makes clearing and taking of objectives that much easier. And it soups up Morven Vile and the Paragons to like 11 out of 10. They go absolutely off. But this is comprised of Morven Vile and a Triumph of St. Catherine, 3 Immolators, a single unit of 3 Archoflagellants, which is 27 less.
That is a lot less Archoflagellants than
27. Less than last month. 3 Castigators, 3 units of 10 Dominions to all get split up by the Immolators, so you'll end up with 6 units of Dominions. And of course, you will have, here's the unit with the good weapons, and here's the unit to go and die on the middle objectives. And then 3 Paragons, a big unit of 10, and a unit of 5 Seraphim. They're one of my favorite units in this detachment. The 10 Seraphim, with all those hand flamers, they get +1 strength. They can use the CP to do mortals. They're really, really cool. And plus, they shoot in combat as well. They're all flamer pistols.
That is so weird to see Sisters with so little close combat.
So few stuff. And yeah, exactly. Really light on the close combat.
It's not as much MSUs. Like the Dominion splitting up does help them a lot because then you have 5 or 3 really good units and then 3. These are my scoring units. Kill them. Give me some miracle dice. It's fine. But I haven't seen this list yet, and I really like it.
It feels like an Ironstorm list. When you look at the Paragons and Vile as like your Redeemer, almost. You look at the Immolators and the Castigators as your Gladiator chassis.
What do the Castigators get from this attachment?
+1 strength.
Castigators.
And Assault. Yeah, plus 1 strength on their guns when they're shooting. I can't remember if it's inside 12 inches, and then Assault. So they just move and shoot very well.
Very
and of course, you've got miracle dice to make sure you get around that angle and see the units. It's very, very strong.
Okay.
In addition, you sorry?
Okay. That There's more?
Yeah. Oh, there's probably more. There's probably some strats I can't think of right now, but really good. And of course, the Seraphim, the flaminating of the Seraphim, and then of course you have the Dominions. I should have looked up what the Dominions are equipped with, and I can do that very quickly because I did have BCP up. I have BCP up whenever we do this show because I'm always wanting to. I get halfway through an event, reading out an event. I'm always like, I want to know. I want to know. But what else are you seeing in this list? I mean, of course, we have a good delineation because previously what was crazy about Sisters is that they just had so many utility units that with Miracle Dice could still do an impressive amount of stuff. And people were saying that was going to be the thing they were missing because they were going to have to cut off the lethality. But with 6 units of Dominions, 3 Archiflagellants, and a unit of 5 Seraphim, I argue that they haven't lost as much as you think.
No, and actually the 3 Archiflagellant units are cheap enough and annoying enough to get rid of. I actually really like them.
Yeah, I really like them as well. I think they are really impressive for the points. What are they, 45?
Yeah, I think they're 45 points.
I think it's 45 points.
For
yes,
6
sorry,
wounds and 4 Feel No Pain?
Yeah.
And I mean, 18 attacks.
Yeah. Sorry, 5 I Feel No Pain now.
Oh, right, 5 I Feel No Pain. Still.
Yeah. And 45 points for the 3 Archiflagellants. So 15 points a pop for 2 wounds at toughness, at low toughness, is not amazing. But I mean, if they go hazardous, and go the overcharge on their attacks, they'll still kill like 5 scouts, no problems, and clear an objective.
Yeah, they could actually trade really well.
Yeah, it's a 20-point trade up on that exchange, 65 to 45. The Dominions are in fact armed with melter guns. I could have guessed it. I could have and would have just said, I presume they're melter guns because the +1 strength on the melter guns is fantastic. It's actually really, really, really good. And do you know what's really cute? I was discussing this with the Sisters player on Team Australia. The way the +1 strength actually activates more Miracle Dice for you because you essentially, the 3s and 4s, which is usually like the dead band or in the Miracle Dice chain, the +1 strength actually activates Miracle Dice you wouldn't have been able to use for a shooting attack otherwise, like on the wound roll.
That's actually
so it actually widens the scope of what you actually get from your base mechanic as well. So I think it's really cool. But anyway, very good list by Sir Charles. I expect him to do very well. I did speak out of turn before. It doesn't play for Trismus, does in fact play for Feel No Pain 7+, which is one of the perennial contender clubs in the Iberian Peninsula. But let us transition over to the second list for your viewing pleasure. This is played by just Morphe. That's all his name is listed as, just Morphe. Good old Morphe. Chaos Space Marine Soul Forged Warp Pack. We got 2 Warp Smiths, one of which was with the Forge's Blessing, 3 units of 10 Cultists, 2 units of 3 Bikers, 2 Mauler Fiends, 2 Forge Fiends, 2 Lord of Skulls.
I mean,
what a chat.
Soul Forged, yeah, that is the Soul Forged list.
That is, in fact, a Soul Forged list. You got to assume one of these is starting off the board,
I would
at all times.
Nah, just start them on there. Whatever. Who cares? What kind of table is it?
I like this. I like this list. This is cute. And it will just overwhelm some people. It's got, funnily enough, not a bad amount of shooting. With the Dark Pack, the Bikers actually shoot a lot better than you think. And then it's still got 2 Forge Fiends in here. I do wonder if the Forge Fiends would be better as 2 Forge Fiends become 3 Venom Crawlers. But I think for sheer killability and holding down a flank and or coming on from reserve and clearing space so that next turn they can't stop the Lord of Skulls, or clearing out screens so the Lord of Skulls actually get where they want, because naturally it's a giant freaking base that's got to go around everything. But the Maulers get to go straight through, and I do like the strat on the Forge Fiend, funnily enough, where you use it as people use Brigands and they just Knight of Shade a Brigand into a firing lane when it looked like you couldn't have moved anywhere. And using that on the Forge Fiend, just be like, lol, other side of the wall, bang, shoot, you thought you were safe. I like that quite a lot on them. And it's funnily enough, it's something I'm hearing people use just as much as like sending them all the fiends into to get Crumpen.
Crumpen,
mate.
Oh, right. Yeah. There are orcs at this event. Sure. Okay.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I was still
lost in no orc land from the last event.
If there was any beastie, any construct in the land that a big mech was just like salivating over, it's a Lot of Skulls. They're just like, oh man, I gotta build me one of those. And then it ends up being a Stomper. And they're like, dang.
Got it.
Every time I try and build a cool thing, it's just a Stomper. It's just another Stomper or another, whichever one of those worst one of the Gorkanaut or the Morkanaut.
It's arguable which one it is.
So Dorian has asked, only 2 Death Guard in Spain. What has occurred? Where do you see the state of Death Guard at the moment?
I feel like Death Guard are still a good army. I don't know if they're a singles army. They're a good teams army.
The issue I have with Death Guard in teams, because I'm actually of the opposite opinion to you, because I
Really?
think in singles they get to use brigands, which actually
Uh,
gives them what they lost with a lot of the firepower. You know, you don't really want to take PBCs as much anymore, but chucking in 2 or 3 brigands into that list feels really good, really, really good, and it gives them all the firepower that they want. But if you are just running mono Death Guard, you're just kind of forced into being a midfield brawler, which isn't a bad place for them to be. They're actually quite good at it. But it is like a little bit of an uninspiring play style because there's no real like decent firepower for you to take. You just kind of just take Plague Marines and, 1 Terminator Brick and Typhus, the list. Maybe you take some Flesh Mowers or Plague Drone or whatever's. I really want to see how good Mephitic Blighthaulers are now, just to bring back that, the firepower, the fire support that they lost, because I'd love to see like a mono Death Guard build that didn't have that I feel like didn't have to take the brigands, because I just feel like the brigands are so dang good in that list.
See, I actually have a hot take on them right now because I actually think the outline of sight changes were the best thing to happen to Death Guard, because there are so many Death Guard players, I say, that are just keeping these Plague Burst crawlers back, shooting the mortars when they should be running up the field.
Yeah, pushing them up, using those chassis.
Yeah, they need to be aggressive with those. It's very important because they have such a durable profile, and it's almost not worth killing them, but you have to if they're in your face. So I think it's like I still take 3 of them because I actually think they're very valuable. But
I think they're very valuable as well. All right, we're going to pick some stuff now. I picked first last time. Your pick, mate. Blood Angels are already in for Paul.
I'm actually going to go with... you know what? I like that Sisters list. I'm going to go with the Sisters.
Yeah, I was going to pick it if you didn't. There's 2 things that I know about Europe. T-Suns and Grey Knights. I'm putting Grey Knights.
Yep, T-Suns.
And that will bring us to the end of our event coverage for today's show. We have a palate cleanser segment that we do post-event coverage. We've chased that meta. We've run it to ground. We're currently smoking it out of its little rabbit hole. But then we have a bit of palate cleanser called the Fuego Rapido, where we have a series of questions pitched to us either by our patrons, by you guys in chat, or just conjured out of the ether by the lovely Dusty himself. And we run through those with 2 minutes on the clock. And once those 2 minutes are up, that is it. We are done. And of course, there's only me and Dusty here, so maybe we'll do 1 minute, or we'll just move on.
Whenever we're done.
Answered the thing. Winners and losers of 10.5. So all the updates, all the changes, all the meta adjustments. This should be a good one, mate. Let's cue it up.
Let's see. It's sad that we didn't get Paul for this one, but I did say we would do that this week because we had the bit of time to digest the stuff.
Man, there's enough meat on the bone for 10.5. We can do this for 2 weeks.
That's true. The ones this week are pretty basic, so let's see. First one, top 3 faction winners from 10.5.
So faction winners. So that doesn't mean the best factions.
No, the ones that got the best like increase from 10.5.
Admech, Nids, and probably backhandedly Blood Angels, because they didn't get nerfed at all.
So I definitely agree with Admech and Nids. The Blood Angel one, they definitely got a buff. I don't know if it was one of the top 3, because I do think there was another one.
Well, they got buffed via neglect.
They did,
via...
But that is a way to get buffed in this, for sure.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, Dorian backs me up. Nids BA Admech. Thank you, Dorian. You're a baller. What would you put in instead of BA?
Knights.
Oh yeah, that's fair. That is fair. They went from having not won an event since Index, Index only 10th edition, to winning a sizable event last weekend. I actually think that's So you think Imperial Knights or Knights in general?
I think Imperial Knights got the biggest buff out of that, like the biggest increase, because we haven't seen that. We've still been seeing Chaos Knights around, but we've never seen Imperial Knights around and doing well, and suddenly they won an event. They've been doing really well lately. So in terms of where they were, because they were the bottom. Like they were hard bottom. They are no longer at the bottom. Correct. Like they are once again something you have to be ready for. So
yeah, I think I'm happy with that. I think for sheer things that meteorically are going to rise into contention. I played Admech yesterday, by the way. I played a game against Admech, and they are good.
Yeah, they are good.
I'm not sure if they're great, but man, they are a dynamic, playable
specialist
faction.
in those ones is gonna be a problem to deal with.
I was semi disgusted by the amount of ignores cover that they have.
Oh my god!
Like it's just like, oh yeah, does that ignore cover? Yes. Does that one? Yes. Does that? Yes. I'm like,
whenever
well,
I'm
dang.
not playing
Okay.
my regular detachment in GSC, I often miss it when I don't get my auger to hit.
Fair. So Nids, Imperial Knights, and Admech was our answer.
Yep.
All right, moving on.
Done. Next one. Top 3 faction losers from 10.5.
GSC, because they didn't do anything.
GSC
they
definitely is one of the...
and got nothing. I think on paper, Krons is, even though Krons is still going to be a top faction.
Really?
There is an argument to be made that they're one of the biggest losers. And it's not the fact that their points went down so bad. It's actually a lot of it is the loss of the Anachthrites. The Anachthrites getting Archonthrites, the Canoptic Archonthrites getting legended, took away a premium tech piece from them, and another very good unit that benefits from all of the Canoptic Court goodness. I don't think they're top 3. They may be their top 5 biggest losers.
What do you think? I definitely agree with the GSC. I think another one is Guard, obviously.
Obviously, I actually argue that power-wise, yes, but enjoyment-wise, no.
Oh no, power-wise, I'm talking power-wise.
Yeah.
Enjoyment-wise, they're much more enjoyable to play and play against. But power-wise, oh, did they ever get smacked?
Yeah, so I've played 3 games with New Guard now, and they're so much more fun to play. Like, I even played 1 game with Triple Manticores, and immediately I was like, "This is dumb. Where I can get a Russ for each one of these idiots. I will take a Russ instead of these Manticores anytime because I just had to check.
It's true.
How bad the nerf was. But yeah, Guard is almost definitely on that list.
I think above Necrons, I would say Eldar.
Yeah, explain. What did they lose of significance? I mean, I wish Shadow Spectres got legendary.
Oh, they should. That would be so nice if they get those stupid things. I hate those stupid things. But the D-cannons are no longer something we can worry about. That was one of the few things that they had left in their big repertoire of things we wanted to worry about. Right? We had the Wraith Knights, the Avatar, both avatars.
Yeah.
A few get still in there. I've seen them not be in a couple lists lately, and. The D-cannons now being not irrelevant, but people aren't going to take them anymore. Like, let's be real.
Well, I argue that Drakari took just as hard a nerf as Eldar did because they, like, Yvrain and Scourges going up when that's really just punishing them on the Drakari players and whilst trying to nerf Eldar is just as bad a buff.
Well, yeah.
It's
true. It's the other point, like that, because... Well, they got points, and yes, actually, Dorian's right. Yeah, the battle line as well. The battle because they don't have great battle line, but Guardians are fine, and I mean you probably take 1 unit of Storm Guardians, but they're not like you need Aspect Warriors. They spam that.
Yeah,
crap.
yeah. The other one, so it's a detachment that got nerfed, but Ironstorm got absolutely.
Oh, Ironstorm did get it. Yeah, it got
but that's just a fact. That's a detachment, not a faction.
Yeah, because we can't say Black Templars because they're still fine.
They're fine. They're fine. Yeah, you just play Righteous Crusaders or Gladius, and you've just got a good Space Marine list still. Anyway, moving on.
Next one, best data sheet improvement in 10.5.
Probably the Rust Stalker, for me.
The Rust, wow, you didn't even think about that one.
Yeah, because I played against them yesterday. I was like, oh shit, these guys are freaking 8-bound. They're like Khorne Berserkers with and then some. Because they get a premium, they get a relatively good transport, same as the Rhino, and then they can just go 27 inches, like move, advance, and charge if you've got the right battle line, like units for the hopscotch, as I call it. And then when they get there, they've just got an enormous amount of dev wounds on a decent chassis as well, with a 2 wounds with an invuln. So yeah, I like Rusty's for one of those big, most improved. Okay. What would you think? Belsai's Core would be an argument as well. Goes through walls now, less points, I think. Or did he go up? Job. I can't remember.
I think one of the ones that I'll have to pick one specifically. The Great Unclean one, I think, is actually a pretty big improvement right now.
Yeah.
With the 4 of Pain that he still keeps and will always have now.
Yeah, you're never taking it without it.
Yeah.
But the only issue is, like, with the buff that he got, what Nurgle units are you bringing to take advantage of the Shadow?
Oh, it doesn't matter because he himself is just always going to be the 4 of Feel the Pain. He's always giving you. Does it matter? You can only bring the Nurglings in with the Shadow because Plague Bear is what you bring with them a lot of the time anyway.
Yeah, I think that's not a bad call. I mean, you could probably have said any greater demon, yeah, but definitely the Great Unclean one's the best of the bunch at the moment.
Yeah.
What would be another one? Best data sheet improvement.
Oh,
I mean, Morlock and
has
Warriors. Yeah.
But Warriors are +1 strength. I didn't like. It's good for them. Going from 5 to 6 strength is an important pit, but because they're twin linked, it's kind of like it's the Gene Stealers.
It's just
with the Broodlord now getting the 5 strength though. That's actually pretty significant.
That's big. Yeah, I think it's probably the Morlock though.
Yeah, I think
the Morlock just gets to be played now.
Yeah,
like just gets.
Like he went to not being completely irrelevant to being included like 2 in a lot of the lists.
Dorian's thrown out the Neurolictor now, who gives the Synapse gives the minus to.
Yeah, that being Synapse, they went up a lot of points though, so I wouldn't say it's got one of the biggest improvements, but definitely it's definitely better. Like it's still worth you take 2 of them in every list.
And I mean, once again, shout out to every big knight.
Yep.
Who, they just made every big knight playable, which is nice. Well, one of the two of the Chaos Knights, the Chaos Big Knights, and then every knight for Imperial Knights got playable. All right. Next one.
The worst data sheet nerf.
As in the worst one we think was the most unjustified, or the thing that got hit the most?
Ooh, let's do one for each.
Okay. Ooh. This is hard. This is actually hard.
Yeah.
The biggest data sheet nerf. I mean, it's probably got to be one of the Ironstorm units, right?
That bad, eh?
Yeah, I mean, it's dead. It's dead. Shout out by Dorian to the Calidus Assassin.
Calidus, yeah, pour one up for the Calidus.
I still think is good, is playable. I prefer a Neversaw over a Calidus now if you're going to take an Assassin. But if you're playing an army that rumbles in the middle, like Custodes, I think the Calidus is still very good. Mm-hmm. But if you're playing just like at the guard gun line, the Calidus doesn't do diddly squat.
Yeah.
Like, what are you going to do? You have a Calidus walking up behind your Russes and Dawns, and they just walk up and kill it. Before they charge and have to pay extra CP. It's not a thing. You really need to have a midfield brawler to justify the Calidus now. What do you think? What's your first pick?
I'm biased, so one of the ones I'm going to say is the Aberrates.
Yeah. Well, they didn't get nerfed. They just didn't get buffed.
No, they got nerfed. What are you talking about? Didn't get buffed. They got nerfed.
Well, not in 10.5 in their codex. That's not 10.5.
Sure. I'm including it. God, it's bad. So bad.
I would say it's one of the there's a possible shout out for some of the Chaos Space Marines because Warp Talons went from like a meta defining unit to take 10 maybe. And this still, I played against those yesterday as well, and they're still disgusting. Like I played them into guard, and they're like, well, I'm just going to account for the fact that you get to delete a unit every turn for 1 CP because you're rapid ingressing, and there's not much I can do about that.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing I can do about it unless you let me. Pretty much. So I think Warp Talon's got one of the possibly the biggest single nerf.
Okay,
and still a playable unit.
Well, that was the 2 worst ones. Let's put another 2 minutes on if we need it and say what are the most unjustified nerfs.
There wasn't many. The Scourges. The Scourges for me have to be the most unjustified nerf. That's the best example I can give thus far this edition for them having 2 unit costs. If taken in Yunari, costs this. If taken in Drakari, costs this.
Right.
There's no reason the Scourges should cost more for mono Drakari builds.
For me, again, biased, neophytes. Not being able to take all the weapons you want.
That's a good shout.
It kills them. Like, you can't max out your size mechanics. I don't want mind leaders. I don't want flamers if I have grenade launchers with a Primus. Like, you can't specialize now. Like, now they're really good at getting more. They have a varied profile. Like, it takes even longer to shoot them now.
Who else got big nerfs? Like Ironstorm CSM.
Anything that is box locked and lost like some of the weapons they could take is a big deal.
So straight up, it's probably like Repentia, who were going to be the best unit in the game, and now 180 points for 10 is just like,
yeah, that's actually a good one. That's a good one. That was unjust. They're not even in the game yet, and they got hit hard. Like, I think that would be unnecessary. That would be considered unnecessary.
Once again, good job, G-Dub. I'd much rather them start at ridiculous and come down by 10 points over the next like 3 to 6 months until they're like, just right that people want to take 10 or 20. Then everyone auto bangs 20 into 30 into their list and just run people over. It was going to be so disgusting.
It's true.
Yeah.
I would prefer that, so I don't mind it. But yeah, in terms of unjustified because they hadn't hit the scene yet, yeah, I would say that for sure. Yeah. I agree with that. Okay. The last but not least then, what is the best and worst factions in the game right now, in your opinion?
Well, I think we can all say GSC is pretty much bottom of the barrel, along with Deathwatch. Although I'm hearing some cute things about Deathwatch. I'm hearing some people starting to try and experiment, like people who've been playing Blood Angels for a couple of months being like, I'll F around with Deathwatch and see if there's anything there, because they can just do very cheap, spammable Marines that have a variety of different, because they're the Deathwatch veterans are really quite well pointed at the moment. But then you have Deathwatch veterans, the list. That's it. That's all you got. That's the whole thing. It's the whole list. And if that unit is not good in your matchup, congratulations. You got nothing.
Yeah, I can't in good conscience say GSC because they're my faction. I love them, and I do not play singles events, but I'm going to go to a couple of singles events with my GSC to prove a point, because they're still playable. They're very playable.
They're one of the best primary. They're still a very good primary play army, and in Pariah Nexus, when a lot more cards just score you less points. If you can play a faction that just scores every card, you're actually just at a decent advantage now. Yeah. I'm finding most of my Pariah Nexus games are between like the 65 and 80 points. Yep. Is where I'm usually, and those were like 85 plus point games.
And I can safely say that with my current list of GSC right now, I am scoring 100 still.
Go to hell.
Still doing
it. Best factions. It's hard.
It's between Blood Angels and Sisters.
Yeah, I would like to do the top 5.
Okay,
because I think the next 3 is where things get interesting.
Let's do that then. So BA and Sisters, and then we'll go to the next 3.
BA and Sisters. Well, yep, in no order. I don't particularly care.
I think BA, but arguable.
It is debatable because BA is, apart from like the Sanguinor, is a very face up. It's better World Eaters, It's World Eaters with melter pistols, and every unit is like a unit of 8 bound rather than World Eaters have 1 unit of 8 bound or 2, whatever. But I think the next 3 down is an argument for Necrons. You could make an argument for Chaos Space Marines, and you could probably make an argument for 1,000 Suns.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, all those are definitely arguable. I think Necrons definitely have a spot in the top 5.
I think Necrons 100%. They're still the stat check army of the edition, bar none. Well, they're more damage check than if you want to be specific about it. But there's like an argument for Chaos Knights, man.
Yeah, there is. I think. I don't know. Yeah, T-Suns are definitely up there. I think that they require a lot more of a skill check on the player's part. So I don't know if I'd put them in the top 5.
Yep.
They could be a spot there for sure, but
Dorian's top 5 is BA, Sisters, Nids, Black Templars, and Necrons. I don't hate throwing Black Templars out there either. I think Black Templars are the best horde army in the game right now. Like 2x20 Crusaders, and then you take 10 Terminators with the 5 Feel No Pain, and then all of a sudden you're pushing a similar stat check to Necrons, right. But on different profiles. Actually, it's not bad at all. And yeah, I mean, there's arguments for Dark Angels as well. They've got a couple of spicy lists, but we have to see the proof in the pudding on the Dark Angels.
I definitely see some play in the Dark Angels. I like the idea of them in terms of in contrast to the BA. They have a similar style, but they're a little bit more forgiving. But they're just not. Not as.
They're not explosive.
They're not explosive. Exactly.
Yeah, they're not explosive. They're grindy.
Yeah, they're grindy.
And I mean, you could make an argument for Grey Knights as well, man. 6 DKs is still disgusting.
You could. Okay, so right now
and Canis Rex is 3. Now going through walls.
That's true.
Knights of Shade Canis Rex as well, which is hilarious. You still just run people over.
We settled on BA, Sisters, and Necrons. It's the next 2 that we gotta lock that down then. Rover our 2 minutes, but this is important.
This is very important stuff. This is very, very meaningful, important
very
stuff.
Meaningful.
I mean, it's surprising we're not mentioning Tau and Orcs. I think Tau, there can be an argument for Tau. The issue is, I find, is the inconsistency and the table dependence for Tau. Like if Tau just
I think it's similar
have
for
to go
Orcs.
first on a dense table and their first turn's just a blank, and then you can just lose a game off someone playing for bottom of turn on the scramble.
Yeah, I definitely think it's the same to be said for Orcs too. Like some of their better builds got hit pretty hard, but there's still some good. Like the Dread Mob, I think, is actually really good right now. It's just, but
Same issues as Tau, right?
Exactly. That's kind of where it sits for me. So I wouldn't put it in the top 5. I do think. I think Chaos Space Marines is one of them.
Yeah, I think Chaos Space Marines is one of them.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
do.
I think
I put that number 4. I think.
Yeah.
Number 5 is
so 5th pick, we have the ones we've thrown out. Tyranids is one of the contenders. Thousand Sons, Grey Knights, and Chaos Knights probably our contenders for the 5th pick.
Yeah.
You want me to just roll a dice?
I have one in my head. I'm gonna write it
What,
down.
a dice or a 5th pick?
No, no. The 5th pick.
You can do that?
Yeah,
you can roll dice in your head?
Absolutely. I just rolled a 6th right now. How about that? I just made my invuln. It's crazy. But yeah, I think I know which one.
Throw it out.
One. I think it's Chaos Knights.
I was going to say I think it's Nids.
I want it to be Nids, and it might be Nids. Dorian actually made a good point too. I think Nids are also a skill check as well, though.
Yeah,
so,
I think Nids and T-Suns are very similar.
Yeah,
I think T-Suns have a lot more explosive ability from range, whereas Tyranids are the explosive ability mostly in melee, whereas they have just like a consistent mid-level.
That's kind of why I put them the same as T-Suns. Like they absolutely could be in the top 5, but because of that skill check,
but they fold up. They fold up in bad matchups.
Yeah, and Chaos Knights are a little bit more forgiving in that sense. So I think I would put them in the top 5.
There's an argument for like World Eaters as well. Like this.
Stop
pick is
getting
actually
it.
hotly
Make more.
contested.
Nope. They're out.
All right. Which one did you say?
I said Chaos Knights.
Done. It's Chaos Knights. Whatever.
Well,
you get the Blood Angels, Sisters. We just solved the meta. The meta has been changed.
All right. If you ever bring a 5-man to a team, there it is. There's your 5 armies. Done.
Blood Angels, Sisters, Necrons. Wasn't it Chaos Space Marines and Chaos Knights?
Done.
Like, there we go.
You're welcome.
Done.
You're welcome.
Right. That's the end of the show. We'll never make another one. Yep. We fixed it.
We fixed it. We solved the matter. We don't need to chase it anymore. We said it.
On that note, we are done. That is the end of the show. Please, if you are unaware, we do a part 2 to this show pretty much every week where we look back at the events we have covered, tell you what won, what was in the top 10, and then pull out one of the most interesting lists from their top 10. And if you want to get that, you go over and have to sign up to the second tier of the Warhammer Meta Chasers over on Patreon. The link should be directly below you if you're watching us live. If not, thank you very much for your support. We always appreciate it. This show, I do 4 shows a week, and this show takes as much prep time as the other 3 shows put together. So this is not is not a small amount of work to put this one together for you guys every week. It is always a joy to us. We love doing this show. We wouldn't be doing it otherwise. But yeah, if you can support us financially, that'd be greatly appreciated. Otherwise, hopefully we'll see you again next week. Good luck to all those contesting out there, playing and grinding in this new Nephilim meta. Sorry, is it Nephilim? No, Pariah Nexus. Whatever.
Now you're the pariah.
It'll be another word sooner or later. Dustin, anything you'd like to say before we check out?
Love you.
Yeah, I love you too, buddy, and all of you.
And
Let's
all
get
of
out
you
here.
here.
Good night.
Good night.